Block party turning up the volume. Miller on the slide. Game, set, match.
Spectacular crowd inside Mackey Arena. Purdue builds a huge lead.
It's all the hammer. Purdue is going to beat Tennessee or the Broadway block party.
It is down. History for Dave Shondell.
Welcome back to the Big City Podcast, brought to you by Franciscan Health, the official medical provider of Purdue Athletics. I'm Cory Palm. He's head coach Dave Shondell. And, Coach, we've got a ton to talk about this week. First of all, Boilermakers 1-1 on the week, winning at Ohio State and dropping a home match to Nebraska on Sunday. We'll talk about both of those, but if you'll recall from last week's show, Coach was pretty clear that, the match that really mattered last week was the Ohio State match. You got to go to Columbus and take care of business.
You can't lose that one.
Can't lose that one. Right. And then, you're playing with let the fur fly on Sunday. Whatever happens against the top team in the country. But, boy, did your Boilermakers go take care of business in the Cavalli Center.
Yeah, and let me frame it even more.
Yeah.
We're in a stretch of matches right now where 8 of 10 are on the road. Okay, nobody in the league should have to deal with that.
It's crazy, yeah.
That would not happen, I don't think, in basketball. Okay, but we got 8 out of 10 on the road. We've played 3 out of 4 on the road here lately. Now we got 4 of our next 5 on the road. So when you start looking at how you want to have your team ready, it'd be nice if you could just throw a magic wand over them and say, we're going to be ready to play and be our very, very best for every single match that we play. But I believe, as a coach, you want to make sure you're ready to play. And I thought we were ready to play against Nebraska. We came out all right.
Came out good.
But we had to be ready for Ohio State. And we need to be ready for Indiana on Thursday. So there's a way you go about doing this. And again, we didn't try to go out and lay an egg against Nebraska. We were not really good defensively against them, like I wanted to be. We have to out-defend everybody we play if we're going to be successful.
Right.
And we did not out-defend Nebraska, but they're a hard team to defend. The hardest team in the country to defend, to be quite honest. Okay, but we have this stretch, and it's our job to try to make sure we're prepared to play every match. But certainly there's some that you identify must win. And when you play what I think is the best team that the nation has seen in maybe 4 or 5 years, you certainly want to go out and represent Purdue with class and competitiveness, and which I think we did.
I agree.
But we poured a lot more of our, I think, emotion and heart into maybe some other matches that we have played so far this season.
With that start against Nebraska.
And I don't know what your question was.
Yeah, well, I asked about Ohio State, but we'll talk about Nebraska first.
Okay.
Boilermakers came out dialed in that first set. It was nip and tuck the whole way. You guys were up a point or two. They would tie it up, maybe go up a point. You battle right back. Nobody pulled away. Yeah. It was as good a battle, and a 25-23 is the correct score for a set like that because it was so evenly matched that first set.
We didn't make any defensive plays in that set. Believe it or not. We just didn't defend the way that we're used to defending. And that allowed Harper Murray to get rolling and some other people. At 2/3 of the way through that match, they had outscored us 43-40. That's where we were at 18-17 in the second set. That outscored us 43-40. And then I think we lost a little bit of our focus and our competitiveness and our confidence at that point. And then they kind of went on a roll. They finished, I think they won 8 of the last points in that second set and handled us pretty well in the third. But a lot of that is, number one, we didn't defend well. Our passing broke down a little bit because they served the ball tough, and I just thought we crumbled a little bit, to be honest with you. But we did some good things offensively. Kenna Woolard was as good as she can be.
Well, she was
awfully good. We got the ball to our middles a little bit more. I didn't think Taylor had her best match of the season. She was, and Taylor always knows if she's good or if she's not good, and she recognizes that. She's the first person to come in and talk to you about it. But she was great today. We just had a tremendous practice today as we get ready for what lies ahead. And I just like the way this team responds. I can just be so open and transparent and honest, and like I said last week, I can be me when I coach this team, and it makes my job better, and it makes me more effective, and it makes them better too, I think, at the end of the day. But Nebraska's really, really good. I mean, Andy Jackson is the best middle in the country. Harper Murray may not be the best offensive player in the left side position in the country. She was that night, but she may be the most valuable player on any team in the country because she brings this presence. She's a 6 rotation kid that can pass, can serve, can dig, can hit out of the back row, hits out of the front row. She was 7 for 8 out of the back row against us with kills. And that, again, when you play a team that's got that kind of firepower, defensively your plan can't cover everything. You want to take away the things that you feel like that team is going to do most frequently and most effectively. And then if they start bringing some things that are kind of secondary, not necessarily primary weapons, they're going to beat you with it. And that's what they did, and we didn't adjust real well to it once that started to roll. But great team. Bergen Riley is a tremendous setter for them, maybe the best in the nation. Their ball control is off the chart. I thought the hardest thing for us to do was going to be able to score on them because of how well they defend. And 2/3 of the way through the match, we were hitting about 260.
Yeah.
All right, we were scoring against them. Problem was we weren't stopping them.
Right.
And at the end of the day, they hit I don't know what the number was, 350, something like that,
Yeah,
which was you can't beat anybody if you let them hit 350.
They hit 350 for the match, 412 in the third set. Your Boilermakers just a hair under 200 for the match, but like you said, that fell off a bit late.
Yeah.
Block was about even. Aces were in favor of Nebraska, but it really is their depth. When Taylor Landfair is your 4th or 5th option on offense, you know you've got unbelievable depth.
Yeah, Big Ten Player of the Year 2 years ago. And quite frankly, they got a kid named Sigler that played back row for her that is every bit as good as her. And then when they're big Italian, the 6'5" freshman Italian,
so impressive,
hit negative, okay? They bring in a lefty that you wonder, where's she been? I mean, a lefty, they were sitting over the top of our block. They have tremendous talent. As we talked before, they've got more resources to get players, not just the history and tradition, but the NIL money, the revenue sharing money. So Nebraska will never go away. Danny Busboom Kelly does a terrific job. She's fit very well for that job, and they're going to stay as one of the top programs in this country for as long as I'm alive.
Definitely. As long as I'm alive, too. Okay, Nebraska's off the table. We don't need to talk about them anymore. That Ohio State game, you said, it was important to come out focused and control what you can control on the road. Is there something about road matches that helps the team focus? Because that was the third straight great road win.
I think, we haven't lost a match away from home. And we've lost 3 at home, which the fans probably aren't very happy about, but we're not trying to lose them.
Yeah.
But we've been really good on the road, whether it's been on neutral floor or whether it's been on the opponent's court. And Ohio State was another one of those. And I do think you have more control over what your people are doing and thinking when you're on the road, and you have more film time with them. And there's not a whole lot they can really do. We don't really leave the hotel. Once we get to the hotel, we're eating at the hotel, we're watching film at the hotel. If they're leaving the hotel, they're probably doing it without anybody knowing about it, okay? So I do think that sometimes it's a better environment to have your team ready to play, and then you go into the gym, and sometimes the home court can mean a lot for the home team. But they only had about 3/4 of Covelli filled up because they're not doing real well. And so I didn't feel like it was a tough place to play. And we came out and got off to a good start, and we really never looked back. That match was never in doubt once it started.
No, Boilermakers took set 1, 25-19, hit 379 in that set, and it only went up from there.
Yeah.
You guys wrapped up the day hitting 430, 429 on the match with just 6 attack errors. That is a very good mark.
That's a real focused offensive team effort when you hit that number and only have 6 miscues. In the entire match, you'll have more than that in warm-up. When there's not a block or defense over there. So, I think this team does narrow their focus when they need to. And, we talked off the air that with Nebraska out of the way, not that that's not a match you can win. It's not one that Vegas is going to have you ever winning,
right.
Okay, this year. But now you're looking at things, and probably when we go to Wisconsin, we're favored to get beat, or expected to get beat. When we go to Minnesota, we're probably expected to get beat. When Penn State comes here, probably the odds are that we might get beat.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, we don't play a match that we can't win the rest of the way.
Yeah.
And I never would have thought that before this season started. Maybe even 4 weeks ago, I'm not sure I would have said that. But there are some teams like ours that have had some injuries. We're not playing with a full deck right now. And probably not many people are. I know Nebraska had one of their backup left side hitters was in a boot, not playing. So everybody's got problems. It's how do you work through and how do you get the most out of the people that you've got? Because every one of these next 14 matches will be close. They will be close. I don't care if it's us going to Rutgers or if it's Penn State coming here.
Yep.
Every one of these are going to be really, really tight matches, and which teams can play well in that type of a situation. And so far, we've done okay with that, and we've got to continue to stay focused and have this mojo that we've got going within this team.
We've gotten a couple questions in recent weeks from viewers. We really thank you for that. We're going to get to those in the second half of the show. One of them's kind of appropriate for the conversation we're having right now. Comes from our Big Ten Plus play-by-play guy, Craig Combs. He wanted to know, after every loss this year, the team has rebounded with a string of wins. Is there something about the team that comes together that unifies after a loss, or has it just been kind of how the schedule goes?
Well, I think that they're a coachable team, and I think that when you lose, you don't need a coach to recognize there's some things that we didn't do very well. We've lost to Georgia Tech, lost to Illinois, and now we've lost to Nebraska. Mm-hmm. And in all those matches, there's some things that you can identify that we didn't do very well. We did not play well against Georgia Tech. We played poorly down the stretch against Illinois, and then defensively we were poor against Nebraska. So there's some things you can identify, and that often just gets your team's attention. Losing is not something anybody wants to do on a regular basis. But you have to have a certain amount of talent and a certain amount of cerebral players to turn that around and be that way. But I always like to use that loss the best you can. We didn't talk a lot about the loss to Nebraska after the match. I wanted them to move on and start thinking about Indiana. So we talked about some of the things that we need to be prepared for with Indiana and didn't mention that Nebraska match at all afterwards. Mm-hmm. I think our players were probably shocked that I came in there and didn't even mention that match when I talked to them after the contest was over. But today, first chance we've had to see them, because yesterday was our off day, today we did. Mm-hmm. And we showed that match on film. We showed our defense and all the holes that we had and all the plays we didn't make and all the, I thought, inefficient moves that we made. And so that's one way that you can get their attention and help them start that process of getting ready for the next one.
Mentioned a string of wins. It was 8 straight wins after the Georgia Tech loss, including victories over Kansas and SMU. It was 3 straight after they lost to Illinois, including the 2 road wins at UCLA and USC. So big wins have followed your losses this season, and a chance to hopefully repeat that Thursday night when you take on the Hoosiers down at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. Mm-hmm. We'll go in depth on the Hoosiers in the second half of the show as well, but just to have this event, your second one in Indy after the Butler match this season, but not your second or third, fourth showcase match in an arena after 2 in Mackey and playing in Bridgestone. What does this type of event against the Hoosiers mean for the state of volleyball and for your program?
It's big. And again, I credit Steve Aird, the head coach at Indiana, the Hoosiers coach, for making this happen. We played in some nice venues, but now we're playing in the heart of our state, in Indianapolis, where a ton of Boilermaker fans live, mm-hmm. and they know our team has been successful, and we have to have more fans at that match than Indiana. Usually, obviously, attendance-wise, we draw more than Indiana does, for our home matches. But they're building some enthusiasm down there. They've got some momentum going in Indiana. This is a team ranked in the top 25 in the country. They've only lost 2 matches, They lost to Western Kentucky, and then they lost at Michigan State. Both those are on the road. They've won every other match, including beating Miami of Florida, who just beat Pitt, who was ranked 3rd in the country. So this is a really talented team that they put that match in Gainbridge for a reason, to showcase Indiana volleyball. And it's important that our fans recognize it's also an opportunity to showcase Purdue volleyball. And I just hope that they'll be black and gold all over downtown Indy on Thursday night, and they'll come out and celebrate this with us and give us the help that we need.
That match, 7 o'clock start on Thursday night. It will be televised on the Big Ten Network, which is great, but yeah, get down there. I was on the site before our show started today, and
plenty of seats available. Plenty of seats. I think their goal is to fill the bottom 2 rings. And I think they will. I think they'll have that kind of a crowd. Maybe it will fill into the upper bowl, but get that bottom area filled, and that'll get you about I think the place holds 20,000 now.
I think
so
it does.
It'd be great to get 12,000 plus in there with Indiana, Purdue faithful, and just have a great time and let the fur fly.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back and talk about the Hoosiers, who are having a historically good season for their program, right after this.
The Dig City Podcast is brought to you by Franciscan Health, the exclusive healthcare provider for Purdue Athletics. Franciscan, inspiring health, working for a better tomorrow. Go to franciscanhealth.org for more information. Now, back to the show.
Boilermakers stayed at 12 in the AVCA rankings this week after the 1-1 weekend. That's exactly what you would hope would happen after a game showing against Nebraska and a good win over Ohio State. Our opponents this week, Indiana fell a bit to 22 from 20 after that loss to Michigan State, and Illinois is just outside the top 25, sitting in 28th place if you count down the receiving votes teams. So
we've got 8 teams from the Big Ten in the top 25. I think USC, UCLA are both inside that top 25. So there's 2 teams that we beat. You've also got SMU that jumped up to about 6th.
They're
8th.
They jumped to 8th from 10th, yep.
Okay, so they jumped up a little bit. Kansas is right
15.
around 15. I don't know if there's anybody else that we beat.
Tennessee's at 16.
Tennessee at 16.
Yep.
So number-wise, when we start looking down the road, which not everybody's doing yet, but I'm sure that some of our fans are, we just got to hold court, man. We just got to keep playing good volleyball. And if we keep doing that, then we'll have a shot like a lot of our teams have had, where we could very possibly play the first or second round in Holloway Gym and pack the place, and hopefully go from there. So that's kind of what our plan is, but we got a lot of work to do, and it starts on Thursday.
For sure. About 14 matches left, as you said before we started taping, which means we're just past the halfway point of the season.
Yeah.
There's plenty of work to do. And those all important RPI rankings, the Boilermakers currently sitting in 12th, 2 spots behind Indiana, which that one surprised me when I pulled that up this morning. But the records of the opponents they've played and the results that they've gotten have them in the top 10 RPI-wise at the moment.
And that's good scheduling by Indiana to make sure that they're playing teams that have those good records. We've had 1 or 2 of the same opponents. I know they played Bowling Green and beat Bowling Green. There might be somebody else on there besides USC and UCLA who we both beat both those teams.
Yep.
So they're legitimate, and they're positioned themselves beautifully to make the NCAA tournament, which they have not been in the tournament since 2010. So this is a special group that IU has, and we know that, and we're already preparing for them. But I got a feeling they're preparing for us pretty well too.
Yeah, I would imagine this is a mutual admiration society right now. What are they doing well so far this season that you've seen in your preparation for Thursday?
Their pin attackers are really good. They're hitting at high percentage points. They got a senior. She's from Spain. We just call her Candy. But she's been around for a long time and been one of their starters in the left side hitting position. Has turned into a really good complete player. She blocks, she hits, she's in the passing pattern. She's a solid player for them, and I think she's in better condition than she's ever been in before, and just looks better and is playing better. The other outside hitter is a freshman, Jaeger from San Diego, California. And in the past, they always had two pretty good left sides. Now they got two left sides that you really better pay a lot of attention to. And Jaeger's the other one. I think she's having a great year right now. She's going to be on the all-freshman team in the Big Ten. The right side player is hitting about 380 on the season, at least. That's Tatum, and she is also from San Diego, but she played at Cincinnati her first year, has now been with Indiana for 3 years. Heavy arm, big swing. And, she's somebody in another. So they spread the net out pretty good. You got a right side player up there at Tatum. You got two left sides. I know when Candy's in the back row and Jaeger a little bit, they'll come out of the back row some. But now their middles are starting to get into the fray a little bit more. A freshman out of Michigan, you can help me with her name, 23.
Yeah, 23, Victoria Gray.
Victoria Gray, good athlete, about 6'2". And then the other one is Boersma, that is out of Churubusco, which is the turtle capital of the world. I know that. And she's physical. She's about 6'2". And you can't ignore them. And then they got a 6'2" setter from Serbia that has changed the way they play, because they're playing it with a little bit different tempo than they've ever played before, and it looks very natural for her. And so I don't know if it's because of how she plays that they're running it that way, or they've told her that's how they're going to run it, and it just worked out really well for them. They lost their libero from a year ago, Gary, that transferred to Texas, and they lost a really good setter named Hayworth, but they certainly have filled the void in the setting department extremely well, and they have most of their attacking back. So it's a veteran team from that standpoint, and they're playing great, and they're playing with confidence, and you can just watch the way that they operate, that they really believe in what they're doing down there.
When you've got a team that plays quicker, that gets to their attack quicker, how hard is that to prepare for? Is it vastly different in how you have to approach defensively?
Yeah, you got to try to simulate that some in practice. It reminds me a little bit, when I was coaching basketball, and I was assistant coach at Daleville High School to the Silver Fox. I like to call him Everett Gates. Everett Gates was a great basketball coach, and we would play against teams in the Mid-Eastern Conference all year and play some of the Delaware County schools. But occasionally you might play Muncie South, or you might play Muncie Central, or you go into the sectional, which we happened to win back in 1985 when we beat 3 of the city schools. Okay, first time it's like going back to Milan, when Milan beat the Bearcats.
Sure.
But anyway, it's hard to prepare. All of a sudden you're playing athletes that are moving a little bit differently, and so we'll simulate it the best we can. The best thing you can do is try to serve them really, really tough and prevent them from being able to do some of the things that they want to do as easily as they can. But it's something that, we, at least we don't have just one day to get ready for them.
True.
We couldn't practice yesterday because you have to have one day off, and that was our day off yesterday. But we have today and we have tomorrow to really spend some time on trying to, maybe catch up a little bit with that tempo.
It's fall break on campus this week, so yesterday was an off day with the players, a complete day to themselves on an empty campus.
Yeah.
And today it allowed you to shift up practice a little bit earlier.
Right.
That's good from a scheduling standpoint, I would think from a rest standpoint, but does that change anything else?
No, it just gives them more time off. And with the schedule we've had, did I mention 8 out of 10 on the road?
You did, yeah.
To have a little bit of more time where they don't have to worry about the academics and going to class and studying, and maybe just get some rest, if they'll do that. You know how college students are.
Yes.
Rest doesn't seem to be part of the formula a lot of the time, but I hope that they will find a couch or, just watch some TV or something for a little bit. Hopefully maybe even watch some IU on what we call Volleymetrics, which is the server that we have that you can see a lot of Indiana's matches on there to help get ready. But no, I think it's nice that we have this break and in between all these road matches that we're getting ready to deal with.
Well, I'm going to throw a little, even more fuel to that fire. It's not just that you're playing Indiana and Illinois on the road this week. You're coming off the Nebraska game, of course. Illinois is 5-1 in conference, and Indiana's 5-1 in conference. The only other team with a record that good is Wisconsin. Yeah. So you will have played in 3 consecutive matches, 2 of which on the road, teams that are 16-2 combined in Big Ten play. Calder Rosemont might not be out of line.
Well, yeah, I really just kind of look at, even though I keep talking about the 8 out of 10, I don't look very far ahead. You know, that's not good for your mental health. So we just focus on one match, and we get really good at that because that's just how we operate. And I even tell my assistants, you guys have got to get ahead of me on this. You've got to make sure you're watching. Who's our next one? Rutgers?
At Rutgers Sunday.
Because I don't like to get ahead and start looking at Rutgers. I'll have time to get enough of them if my staff does their job and does a lot of the legwork and makes us really ready. I just want to make sure I'm locked in on the next opponent. And I want our team to feel the same way, that they're locked in on our next opponent and trust that we're going to have time to get ready for whoever is next. In this case, we go out to Rutgers at Jersey Mike Arena. And they're not bad either. They beat Maryland, and they're starting to play at a high level. But I'm not thinking about them right now. We got enough to worry about with the Hurricane Hoosiers.
Just 2 teams in the Big Ten have a losing record at this point in the season.
That's
overall.
Almost improbable.
It is. Well, overall, Maryland's 7-9 on the season. And Ohio State's 3-11, but 10-8. Rutgers, that's where they sit overall for the year. 1-5 in conference play. And Coach did something really kind there. I don't know if you noticed, but he corrected me without correcting me. I got ahead of myself looking at the Illinois match next week instead of at Rutgers. So good that he's the one in charge, and I'm just the guy who sits here and talks for a little bit. Speaking of talking for a little bit, anything more to say about IU, or should we move on?
No, we'll do that talking for the team and getting organized, and I just think it's a really good team, and it's they say this about basketball all the time. It's best for the sport when IU and Purdue are both really good, and I believe that. This is a volleyball state. Indiana is one of the best volleyball states in America. Okay, and that goes way back to many years ago when a lot of coaches really got this state going in the sport. And per capita, there are probably more scholarship athletes coming out of this state than anywhere else. I know it was that way for a long time. So it's great that Indiana is going to, it will push us, and they certainly have our attention, and that's about all we need to say.
That's good. Thursday's match is for the Monon Spike, which is currently situated over in the Mackey office complex for the Purdue volleyball team, and it's got a very important position in that office structure. We'd love to see it there next week as well. So good luck in that match, Coach. Let's get to some viewer questions. We got a couple more. This one came in from Scott Cassander a couple weeks ago.
He likes to ask questions.
Great friend of the program, Scott. And I've noticed this too occasionally this season. He said he's curious about the running 2 liberos during the match.
He asked that question at the Situation Room.
Okay, so he got his answer.
I gave him the business for that. But no, it's a legitimate question. There was a couple matches where I think that we were going to have Rachel Williams, who's a really good server, serve for Ryan McAleer because Ryan really wasn't getting enough pepper on her serve. And we thought, okay, we can save substitutions by using the 2 libero rule, which is a rule that's out there.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, you can use 2. And a lot of people will use it because one's a better passer and the other's a better defender. So if you're serving, your team is serving, put your better defender in the game. But if you're receiving serve, you put your better serve-receive passer in the game. But it's not a situation that we can take advantage of because Ryan's a really good passer and a really good defender. And now she's got her serve going for her that it doesn't really make sense for us to make that. So I try to make that clear to Scott. And then he came back with a better question later on in the Situation Room.
Well, Scott, I'm glad y'all got yourselves worked out and taken care of in the Situation Room. Love that you still do the Situation Room, by the way. Next one comes from Brandon Cassidy, excuse me. Brandon asks if we could talk about what you mean when you refer to being in system versus out of system. Sure. And if you're out of system, how do you go about scoring anyway?
Yeah, great question. Not that Scott's wasn't, but that's a really good question. In system, out of system. You hear volleyball coaches, use it all the time. when a team serves the ball to you, or they even attack a ball at you, but mostly it's when you're receiving serve, if your passers, you're going to have 3, 4, 2 passers back there, if they can pass the ball to where the setter can set all of her options, you're in system. So if you're in a 3-hitter rotation, when the setter's back row and you got 3 hitters and she passes, the ball's passed, and you can set your left side, or you can set your middle, something quick, or you can set the ball back to your right, you're in the driver's seat. That's in system, okay? Once your setter gets moved out of a point, normally past the 10-foot line or beyond, okay, or maybe too far toward the left side hitter or too far away back where the right side hitter might want to attack from, then you're considered out of system. And now your options are limited to maybe a backcourt attack or throwing it out to your left side hitter. So that's what we call out of system. How do you score out of system? You have to train your pin hitters to be really, really good at hitting shots, working the periphery of the court, hitting off the block, maybe having a select number of off-speed shots that they can score. But you also have to have a backcourt swinger, okay, that can come in and pound some balls for you. And we've got one right now that we feel pretty good about. We're working on some others. And most teams don't have two. Most teams are lucky to have one.
Pretty rare to have a good one, yeah.
Because right now, women don't attack the ball with the kind of velocity out of the back row as the men do. Women are playing on a 7'4" net, and their average height might be 6 foot. Men are playing on an 8-foot net, but their average height might be 6'3.5", 6'4",
right.
Plus their jump is higher. So the trajectory and the angles that they can hit on make it a little bit easier for them. And plus, they do hit the ball with more pace. Men do. I mean, it's just a known fact. So they can be more successful out of the back row. But Harper Murray is an example. 7 out of 8 against what some people thought was a good defensive team, and we couldn't stop her because we were focused a lot on some other things. But that's the difference of in-system is when you have a lot of options and you're in complete control and the defense is just hoping for the best, as opposed to when you're out of system, now the setter is limited to who they can get the ball to, and now the other side of the net's chomping at the bit. Okay, bring it over, so we're going to put the ball to target, and now we're going to go score a point.
One less follow-up from me along these lines. Okay, so you get a ball in system. Setter has her choices of which way to attack. She picks, we're going to serve the outside, and let's say Kenna Woolard goes up for the kill. At what point in that process does Kenna decide what type of swing she's going to execute? Yeah,
Kenna will have some ideas based on what she has seen from the block on tape and the defense on tape, how big is the block, then knowledge of how well the middle blockers move to close the block, what that's going to leave for her. But ultimately, it's not really until she'll have some ideas coming in, but she should not make that decision until she's up there ready to attack the ball and see what's in front of her. There are great hitters that do a great job not only seeing the block, they get a feel for where the defense is. Okay, keep in mind now, here comes the volleyball being set from Taylor Anderson. The block is over here, the defense is out here, and yet we're expecting them to have a tremendous vision of what is going on the other side. Ariel Turner, who played for us and was the Big Ten Player of the Year her junior year, had a better idea of what was going on the other side of the court than any person I've ever coached. She was magical on how she knew and I think it was more vision. Now, she was an engineering major.
Yeah, she was very analytical.
But she was great at it. Kenna has improved dramatically this year on not pounding the ball into the block. I mean, she's great. She's gotten so much looser here in the shoulders that used to be she'd have to go up and she'd turn every time she's going to hit down the line, or she'd have to go this way every time she's going. Now she can just face this way and hit that shot, face that way and hit this shot, and she drives off the top of the block well because she's seeing the block. It might be her best shot is what we call the drive shot, where she's just working the ball off the top of the fingers, and she hits the ball so hard that if she gets off the top of the fingers, it's going to go 15 feet out of bounds.
Yep, really impossible to control.
So that's kind of how the process of that goes through. If you're in system and you get a really good set, there's going to be a split in the block, and that time then you can pound it, or the blocker's going to have to jump in to try to prevent you from pounding it, and then you see that, and then you hit it down the line or off the block.
Okay. Great stuff. I love this stuff. Keep the questions coming, please. This is really fun interaction and hopefully getting what you want out of this.
Yeah, well, I hope. We've been trying for years.
We have. Coach, 2 more road games, including the game Thursday night, 7 o'clock at Gainbridge. What's going to be your message to your team last thing before you run out on Thursday?
Well, message will be sent long before that. Right before we go out, it's probably just going to be to help try to get them in the right zone to play, and maybe just a couple of things. Be prepared for this from them, okay? But also just enjoy the opportunity you're going to have to be one of the 2 teams that are going to play the first match ever in what is now Gainbridge Fieldhouse. I love the Fieldhouse term. Growing up in Muncie with the North Walnut Street Fieldhouse and being responsible for naming the Daleville gym Bronco Fieldhouse.
Yep.
Okay, but I love Gainbridge Fieldhouse. It's a beautiful, beautiful venue to play in, and we're going to, break the ice and be the first volleyball match to ever be played in there. And I think our players need to take pride in that and not let that go with a loss for sure.
Get out there, support your Boilermakers. Let's turn that place black and gold. We know exactly how to turn downtown Indy into West Lafayette
Central.
Central.
We talked earlier. Tickets aren't cheap down there. I wish that they designed this to try to fill the place, not designed it to, I think, make money. Which whoever I'm not sure who's in charge of it. But it's going to cost you $30 to probably get in there. But I think it will be worth the $30. Go downtown, enjoy it. Downtown Indianapolis is a wonderful place to be. I don't care what anybody says. It's just a great place to be. And this is one of the most beautiful athletic venues in the world. Get a chance to be there, and you get a chance to watch a rivalry match between Indiana and Purdue. Women's sports, everybody's watching it, right? Everybody's watching women's sports. So
absolutely.
Here's an opportunity for you to get on board with us and hopefully, wear your black and gold and support our program.
Come out, support the Boilermakers in that top 25 matchup with the Hoosiers Thursday night, 7 o'clock, Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Coach, let's get back together next week, talk about another couple wins.
Hope so. Thank you.
Boiler up.
Boiler up.